Hi, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us for today's Equity Plus Quick Tips webinar. Today, we're featuring a variety of ways to configure charts in the RT Plus platform to optimize your workflow. The webinar will last roughly 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll answer any questions that you may have. Please submit questions through the GoToMeeting widget on your screen. Thank you again for attending, and I'll now turn it over to Justin Van Til, Quad's SVP of Product, and Chin Sang, Quad's Equity Plus Product Expert. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle. And thank you, everybody. This is a sizable group today for us. And I know I'd say 2/3 of folks on the line today are current users, but there's many that are partners of ours and future users. So I figure I'd just spend a minute before introducing Chin for our second webinar here, which will be a monthly webinar, and just give a bit of context. If you think about Equity Plus as our digital front-end solution within Quad, historically, our users were traders, portfolio managers, operations and compliance, supporting those groups, mostly using real-time data from the exchanges and so forth, and some in options. And last month we talked about the options side. Today, we're going to talk about charting. But I want to take a step back for a minute. Think about the advancements in the advisory space in terms of the asks on mutual funds and ETFs and ESG. And then with regard to the platform you're seeing today, whether it be more book depth, premium news, relevant premium news, whether on the models or securities you're looking at, it's important that we as a company started to build out versions rather than just having one Equity Plus platform that we would think would meet the needs of many or everybody. We've listened over the last year, and so you're going to start seeing versions. Now, this version is RT Plus. So think about RT Plus stands for Real Time Plus, and this is what Chin will spend 10 minutes going through some of the features on. But to take a step back, there's a version that you'll see in future webinars called Allocator Plus, and that's more for the advisor doing packaged products, funds and ETFs, and commingling those with equities, if you will, but more from a delayed advisory context. Future webinar will show an institutional version, which has single sign-on to IHS Market or a look view into millions of bonds. And that's more akin to an institutional user doing advanced portfolio construction. And I think it's just important as we go through this today, as introduce Chin, who has, as our product expert, over a decade experience with this specific platform and has worked with many people on the call actually that are joining us. Our view in this is really to talk about use cases and best practices. We want to listen as you watch this. If there's any specific questions, please send them through and so forth. Future calls, we're going to continue to talk about functionality and features, but again, if there's capabilities in the system that you have today that you'd like us to talk about as the months ahead, please do so. We do have a plan, though, to review, whether it be book depth, ESG, mutual funds, real-time news. That's where these monthly calls are going. So all that said, thank you so much. Let me now, everyone's looking at a screen. Looks like more red than green, unfortunately, today. But let's introduce Chin Sang, and I'm going to, some questions for you to start, Chin. With regards to charting, is there some limitation to our charting? Just kind of take our users through how charting works and the context of what the capabilities are, and are there any limits to it?
Perfect. Thank you very much, Justin. Yes. So in terms of charting, you can think of chart basically within the software as having 4 major bar chart frames. So that's the maximum charts that you can have within the application. So when I say bar chart frames, what do I mean by that? On the top of the Equity Plus, you're going to see the menu bar there. On the menu bar, you're going to see a tab for charts. When you click on charts, that brings up bar chart -1. On the upper left-hand corner of that, you see bar chart -1. So this is the first chart frame that you can have. If you leave that open, click on charts again, that'll bring up bar chart -2. And that's the second chart frame that you can have. Then if you repeat the process, that brings up bar chart -3. So when you click on it the 4th time, you're going to get this message that says you cannot open more than 3 bar chart frames at a single time. So how would you get to the 4th chart frame? In order to get to the 4th chart frame, what you would need to do is point your mouse cursor to any ticker within the application, right mouse click, which brings up a menu, and choose charts. That brings up the bar chart -R, R signifying the right click chart. So basically here, bar chart 1, 2, and 3 are the 4 major chart frames that you're allowed to have within the software. Now let me just concentrate on one chart frame. So now within each chart frame, you have what they call workspaces on the bottom here, new workspace. So workspace is basically exactly what it sounds like. It's a workspace. You can configure all the charting that you would like in that particular workspace, and it will save itself in that workspace. So you can double click on the workspace there and rename it. Just name it Demo 1. So that's your first workspace. And if you need additional workspaces, there's a plus sign next to that. You can click on the plus sign, and that'll create a new workspace. And you can again rename that to Demo Chart 2. You can continue that process to basically have as many workspaces as you'd like. Now, within each workspace, you can have multiple charts. To do that, what you would do is on top there where it says charts, you click on charts and you click on new chart. And then once you do that, it gives you the option of a vertical or horizontal. And then once you have it the way you want it, you left click on your mouse one time and then it'll pop in. And to do that again, you can add in as many charts as you want, obviously, in the positioning that you want. By moving it around, you can see where I want this chart to be in and clicking on it once on your mouse, and then that'll pop in. Now, once you have the charts that you inserted into the workspace, if you don't like the positioning, what you can do is the space between the ticker box and the study box is the toolbar. If you left click on that and hold down your mouse click, you're going to see the chart turn a different shade of color. Then from there, you can drag it to a different location. So that's how you would move the chart around if once you insert all the charts that you want and you decide that you want to change the positioning of that. You can also delete these charts if you don't want so many charts on the workspace by clicking on the right part of the chart. There's 3 buttons there. If you click on that button there, you're going to see a delete option. So you can go ahead and delete that, and it'll ask you the confirmation to delete. And you're just going to say yes and delete all this out. That leaves you with one chart now. So basically, to recap, there is a maximum of 4 chart frames that you're allowed to have, but within each chart frame, you're allowed to have as many workspaces as you can create, and within each workspace, you can insert as many charts as you like.
Chin, thank you. Now, I want to move a bit to formatting, but in that, as you think about answering that, I got a question from one of our users about charting spreads. Is that something we can do, and how might we do that?
There is a spread chart in terms of equation. So there is, what you can actually do is, if you have, for example, it's not really, the best way to do it, but if you have a certain equation, it's basically the same thing. You just do like Google divided by Apple, and then it'll give you the difference in between those two prices. But in terms of spreads of bid and offer and things like that, that's not available because we only chart trades and not bids and offers.
No, thank you. And for the folks viewing, as these questions are there, please also, from our product development standpoint, if there's capabilities that you're not seeing here, please send an email to us or contact. Many folks on the line here talk to Chin directly anyway, so any of that sort of feedback would be great. So Chin, a little bit more of some format charting. If you could take us back to, actually, sorry, I think it's best to ask questions from our users rather than some of the questions in the back of my mind. So Chin, can you put in the 50 and 200-day moving average into an example for us?
Yes, but before we get to that, let's just do some basic navigation on the charting in case there are new guys to charting that doesn't understand how the charting works. So there's 2 ways you can enter a ticker into the chart. First one is on the upper left-hand corner. There is a ticker box there. If you highlight it, you can type in whatever ticker you like, GE, for example, and press enter. IBM, press enter. Or I like to do it the second way, which is just clicking in the middle part of the chart, any part of the chart, and just start typing SPY, enter, V, enter. So that's how you would type in a particular ticker manually. You can also zoom in and zoom out of the chart by moving your cursor to the bottom month scale, and then you're going to see the 2 arrow appear. And once you see that appear, you're going to left click on it, hold down your mouse click, and drag it to the right to condense the chart, and drag it to the left to zoom in on the chart. You can do the same thing on the price scale. So if you move your cursor to the price scale, you're going to see the double arrow again. Left click on it, hold it down, drag it down to condense the chart vertically, and up to expand the bar charts vertically. You can also go back in time to see a certain bar chart that's not in view by left clicking on the chart and dragging it to the right. So that's how you would go back in time to see a particular chart data in a chart. So this one right now we're on Feb 24th of 2020. So once you go back in time, you're going to see a little arrow to the right on the bottom right corner of that. That arrow signifies that you're not at the most current bar. So to jump to the most current bar, what you would do is click on the little tab there, and then that'll bring you to the most current bar. The most current bar today, obviously, because we're on a daily time frame, is today's date, which is 2/25/2021. So that's how you would navigate. There's also a symbol search function on the file, where if you go to File, Symbol Search, and that'll bring up the symbols. This is pretty standard symbol search. You just type in a symbol, for example, IBM, press enter, and then it'll bring you the IBM, double click on it, and that IBM chart will be inserted into the chart. There's also popular futures here and popular indices. So if you don't know what the tickers are for some of these things, you can use that function. Under the tools here.
I'm sorry, Chin, within that IBM chart, I think that, can you, is there a way to overlay, or I don't know if overlay is the correct word, not only the 50, then 200 day, but also the volume weighted average price, the VWAP on that? Is that something that is in this chart?
Well, we would go into that when we start to do the, adding and removing of indicators. Let's see, there's a VWAP indicator here. We do not have a VWAP indicator. Volume moving average, volume moving oscillator, volume rate of change. There's no volume VWAP indicator.
So as you go through this, Chen, do you mind, at least for the audience, at least let's go back into the market viewer and show how we do access VWAP? This is sometimes there's value to information within the core system that is there. And I guess also I think the reason these calls are so good is we're getting feedback from our users that, hey, we have it, but maybe we're not demonstrating it in a certain place. So thank you for these questions. But yeah, Chen, if you could show that VWAP and then the 50 to the 200.
Of course. The VWAP you could get on the standard wise under the detail window here. There's a VWAP field. I don't have it prepared here, so I need to find where it is. If I don't have it, I need to add it. Let's see here. Replace with VWAP. Oh, there it is, VWAP. So right there, we can replace the field for VWAP. So this will calculate ongoing VWAP for the day. Or if you're entitled for the VWAP function, there's a VWAP tab on top where the menu item is. If you click on that, this is VWAP filtering for Tesla for the day, and you can choose the time and the date, and you can filter certain size, and then this is the volume and how to calculate it on the VWAP. You can't chart it obviously on a chart, but you can see it visually, sort of like a time and sales type of scroll.
Excellent, thank you.
No problem. So let me go back to the charting here. So that's just a quick overview of how you would navigate the chart. So now let's go into formatting the chart. In terms of formatting the chart, I split formatting up into 3 ways. The first is formatting the bar chart itself. The second is formatting the interval. And the third would be formatting the look and feel of the chart, meaning the background color, etc. So in order to format the bar chart, what we would do is on the upper left-hand corner, you're going to see IBM there, right underneath the ticker box. And next to IBM is a edit button. We're going to click on edit, and from there on the style, these are the types of charts that you can have that's programmed basically within the software. You can have a line chart, open, high, low, close, or a candlestick. Currently, we're displaying a candlestick, so let's go to open, high, low, close bar to see what that looks like. So this is basically a open, high, low, close chart. Let's expand and zoom in a little bit. So how you would read this chart is basically, this is a daily chart, as you can tell up here. So this one bar represents open, high, low, close for the day. The left tick is always the open price, and the right tick is the closing price. So as you can tell now, IBM is down because for the day, because the at least from the open, the closing bar is lower than the open bar, and the high and lows as actually self-explanatory. You know, the high part of the trade and then the low point of the trade for the day. So that's how you would format the bar itself. And now to format the time frame is you would go up here where you see daily now. That's the daily time frame that we currently have. So that what that means is that each bar represents 1 day of data. So if you click on that, you're going to see the available intervals that you're allowed to have. You can, you know, it ranges from tick to volume, range, seconds, minutes, hourly, etc. So most of the users on intraday uses the 5-minute chart, for example. So when we click to a 5-minute chart, what happens is that each of these bars now become a in 5-minute intervals. So at 9:30 today, when the market opened, IBM basically traded from a high of 1284 to a low of 1268, and it closed at 1279 after 5 minutes of trading. So that's how you will read that in terms of the interval. And the third part of formatting the chart is actually formatting the look and feel. So we're going to go, you can do that one of two ways. On the upper right hand corner, there's a settings tab there. You can click on that and do chart properties, or you can click on the 3 buttons on top and do chart settings, which will give you the same menu that you see here. Under the fonts here, you're going to see the headers, vertical scale, and you can change the different types of fonts that you want and change the size of the fonts as well. And there's also the colors here, and the color is how you change the background color. Currently is black, so let's change that to like a dark gray. And then the grid is changed to the same color, dark gray, so that effectively means that I don't want any grid on the chart. And under the bar settings, you have the bar width, which is basically exactly what it is. It'll define the width of the bar. The bar margin is the space between the last trading bar to the price scale. The bigger that number, the more the chart is going to shift to the left, and the smaller that number, the more the chart is going to shift closer to the price scale. And the bar spacing is just the space between these two, each of these bars. Then you have a general tab there. We don't need to worry about that. That's more for futures. So now we're going to click save. So now you see that once I change the background color, it changed the chart background and the grid to the same color, effectively taking the grid out. So now it's a good time to introduce the save chart function once you have this. When you right click on a chart, you can click save chart. So this save chart is actually not save chart per se, because the chart actually saves itself. The save chart is actually saving a template, a chart template. So any changes that you make, any configurations that you make on the chart, like the background color or any types of indicators that you may add onto the chart, you can actually save it and give it a name. So now we're going to do this for demo 1, for example, and click save. So what that does is it allows you to save time. So now if I go on and create a new workspace, and this is the default chart that it gives you when you create a new workspace, you can go to save charts and then pull up on the lower right hand corner here where it says save chart. You can click on that and click on demo chart 1, and it'll populate that save chart with all the settings that you saved earlier. You can do that within the bar chart -1 frame, or you can do that on a separate chart frame. For example, this is bar chart -2, and under the save chart here on the lower right hand corner, you have the same demo chart 1 that's saved there. I can click on that, and that'll pull in the same chart that we saved earlier. So it saves a lot of time when you do that. You know, like if you have certain moving averages and whatnot, and white or black charts that you like to configure, and once you configure that, you can save it. And in the future, just pull it up on any chart frame or workspace that you like.
That's great. And Chin, and take a step back for everyone on the call. I know we're running a little over our 20 minutes, so thanks for sticking with us. There's some more we'd like to go through, so please, if you're good for the rest of the half hour, we really appreciate you staying with us here. So at a high level, for those on the line that are current clients of ours, we think about this RT Plus platform, again, for the more active trader, portfolio manager, et cetera. You know, we are doing work with, again, full book depth, total view, enhanced options analytics, upgraded UI in the second half of the year. But as we think about what we're going to, you know, deliver to our users and future users, as you look at this charting capability, please, you know, thank you for your time. Secondly, if there's capabilities in here, whether it's features, functions, or UI, please pass that through. Chin has a team of folks that support our customers, and you know that's going to flow through to our product side. So it would be really great. So Chin, this is great to see. Just interest of time, I mean, are there capabilities on adding and removing charting we haven't shown, or do you want to?
Yeah, I just want to quickly go over the adding and formatting of the studies, which is all the indicators and moving averages. I think that's a question that we get quite often. So actually adding and formatting and deleting indicators is quite easy. There's two ways to do that. You see the study tab here. If you click on that, that brings in a add study menu there. And you can scroll down to see all the indicators that's available. The more popular ones are actually moving average, for example. So I can do the search and type in MO just to narrow it down so I don't have to scroll down all the way. And then the moving average here, I'm going to choose that there. And once I do that, it defaults to a 10-day moving average. In the upper left-hand corner here, once you add in on the price pane, any indicator, it's going to populate underneath the actual ticker. And it works the same way as in terms of formatting the indicator as the formatting the ticker. You have a MA here with a 10 indicating that it's a 10 period, and then to the right of that, there's a little arrow. When you click on the arrow, you click edit, and that's where you can edit the indicator that you just added. So let's change this to a 200-day moving average because that's quite common, and then let's change that to white. So that's a 200-day moving average. We can also repeat the process by going to studying and adding the same indicator to get additional moving average, or we can go on the upper right-hand corner where the MA 200-day is and click on edit. Click on the drop down and click clone. That effectively gives us a second moving average that's 200-day. But from there, we can click on the edit on the second one and then just change that those parameters to 50-day, for example, and change the coloring so we know what 50-day is red.
Hey Chin, as you do this, my last question here. I think it's a great question. So a lot of our users use charting, but they also use our alerting feature. They've set alerts to securities. Can you show where alerts live within RT Plus? But then what is the overlap? I know this is something we do today, we probably should do tomorrow in terms of if I'm working in a chart and there's an alert, what's the synchronization?
Charting does not have any alerts function built in. The only alert function that we currently have, and you know, to be quite honest, we should be updating the alert functions within our software. But the only alert function that we currently have within our software is when you right-click on a particular stock, a menu is going to pop up, and then in there is an alert tab there. So you're going to choose the alert function there, and that brings up the set alert. So you enter the ticker, which we right-click on, which is the JP Morgan, and then you want to give it a name because you can have multiple alerts. So we give that a name, demo alert. Everything's demo today. And then you can select window alert or email alert. And then from the bottom here, you can say JP Morgan is trading. I don't know what it's trading at right now. And let's check out GPM 153. So let's say if the last trade goes over 153, I wanted to alert so you can see what it looks like. It'll give you an alert. So once you do that, you can save the alert, and then on the bottom here you're going to see demo 1. So you see that now that triggered.
Sure. So everybody, thank you. Look, I think that's something. Listen, these questions come in as we do this. It gets us thinking as well, right? And so there's capabilities of alerting. How does that play with charting? It's something that we'll take back to our kind of product strategy team and do stuff. So we are at a couple minutes left. I think all feedback for us would be greatly appreciated. I can tell you at a high level, I think we'll come out in the next couple weeks with what our third webinar topic will be. Again, just for clarification, this is really a more advanced features than our RT Plus platform. We will do more of those. I think the next few will maybe more tilted towards that asset allocator, asset gatherer. We'll be looking more well, actually premium news affects everybody in our platform, but as it applies to the ETFs and funds and ESG and capabilities, but look forward to that in the months to come. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. Have a great day. And again, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Really appreciate it.